Welcome back to Timeless Mindset. In this episode, we're joined by AFL player Jacob Blight. Now, AFL players are placed on pedestals and simultaneously intense microscopes as they face criticism from every armchair expert and media journalist from across the nation. So how does it actually affect a player? Expect to hear about Jacob's 2025 AFL season, why self-belief is the most important thing, the inside scoop of being out on the AFL field, the expectations versus reality of being an AFL player, why purpose is at the hub of success, Jacob's new business venture, plus so much more. A great chat with one of my good friends, Jacob, and a must listen for those who love the AFL and want to find out more of what it's actually like. A good insight into Jacob's journey, and yeah, thank you and enjoy.
Here we go.
All right, Blighty, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
When was the last time we did that first episode before you're in the AFL? When was that? That was
it's crazy to think about. I reckon it was probably a good 18 months ago. I remember, I think it was just before we kicked off the 2024 season, and I was kind of sitting in there talking about my journey a little bit and how it all was going and what I was trying to achieve, and then, funnily enough, probably 6-7 months later, I got there and it's taken off from there. So pretty good timing to have a pod.
Yeah, no, that was sick, because I remember you saying how, you sort of committed again to your dream then and like weren't afraid to, say you wanted to play AFL. And then it all sort of happened, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. So obviously we've been in contact since, but what's it been like to actually achieve the dream, and how's that sort of compared to what you thought it was going to be before?
Yeah, honestly, it was, and I remember that time during the pod, I was 22 and I was in a bit of a rush, wasn't I? I was quite frantic and wanted it all now. And fortunately it's happened, and I'm at a really great club in Richmond, and one of the bigger clubs in Melbourne with a great fan base. So, as you'd imagine, it's a dream come true, like living it out each day. The training, the schedule, the people you get to meet, it's just awesome. Like, I've absolutely loved it. In terms of my own season, I guess it's definitely been a roller coaster. That's probably the way I would explain it too. But there's a big sense of gratitude as well, like being able to live that life. I'm grateful to have not been drafted early as well, to know what I guess the reality of the world is for most people, and having to work different jobs and go to uni and do that sort of thing. So I come into the system with a lot more gratitude and probably a lot more urgency as well to succeed, because I understand what else is out there as well. So, but I'm enjoying it. I've obviously played probably a handful of games, about 10 all up now for Richmond. So, there's nothing I don't take lightly. I play a lot of VFL as well, and I thoroughly enjoy it there. So, it's been a roller coaster, getting in and out of the team, and I guess trying to get some continuity at the level and playing a few different positions as well. That doesn't help either. But it's a good place to be, and I guess with the future going forward, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But for now, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing and controlling what I can control.
Yeah. I forgot to ask in the car, how was playing against the Cats, my boys?
Oh, honestly, that was one of the toughest games I played, I reckon. It was down there in Geelong as well. I reckon I came off for about 3 minutes of the whole game, so I was just running here, there and everywhere. But super impressive team, the way they moved the ball and some of the entries that came in, it was pretty unbelievable. And then obviously playing in the back line, playing on some of the stars, or at least walking past, Jeremy Cameron, Paddy Dangerfield, those calibre players. There was a few pinch me moments as well, but they're a very good team and probably go quite deep into September.
Do they have an aura on the field, those players, or what's it like? Or do you feel like you're so in the zone that you sort of forget about that?
Yeah, probably an element of both. Like, Jeremy Cameron played a very good game against us, so I kind of got to see his class on show and the way and how good he was. But I just describe it as a pinch me moments more than anything. Like, you're obviously there to compete and do the best you can during the game, but the way they go about it, the way they play, it's super impressive. And no wonder why they are where they are. So
Yeah.
it's but yeah, that's the best part of AFL. It's coming against those caliber of players and people you grew up watching. So it's pretty awesome.
What do you think's the biggest difference between like the Waffle, VFL, and then the AFL?
It is a big jump. I think I might have said this last time. Waffle and VFL was very different, just with game styles and the grounds and the difference between a Sharon and a Burley as well.
What do you prefer?
Everyone loves the Sharon one.
I love the Sharon.
There's no secret. The Sharon is the best. But it's very different styles between Waffle and VFL. I personally probably find VFL a bit more suitable to my game style with a bit more contests and it's a bit more predictable. But none is either necessarily harder or easier. It's probably about the same. AFL is a very big jump. It's the system, the speed of it, the skills. It's all the nuanced, smaller details all matter at AFL, especially in my position with things like your craft, your body work, your positioning. All that kind of thing really matters just because the skill level is so superior and obviously the speed of it as well. So that's kind of the biggest difference. Probably can't get away with as much at AFL as I probably would in VFL, but it's not too overwhelming. I find because once you're in the system and you're playing in the VFL, you're playing the same game plan, you're playing the same style as AFL, but it's just obviously at a lower level. So the jump's not overwhelming in the sense that you're out there and you just got no idea what you're doing, but it is a big jump in the sense that what you're doing is a lot harder than what you're used to as well.
Yeah. It's probably, what do you think is more predictable as well because the skill level's higher? Like when I've played lower grade footy versus like higher grade, sometimes the predictability makes the game easier and some players actually play a lot better in the high levels because they're able to, you know, especially forwards or midfielders who can predict it more easily.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, that's common knowledge for most grades. I've had chats with a lot of ex-AFL players or players who have done that before. And even at the Waffle level, I think it was Anthony Morabito I spoke to once. He was a former Freo player and had a horrid run with knee injuries, but he had spent some time at Claremont. And early, when I was a bit younger, I remember him saying he used to find reserves harder because they didn't know what was going on necessarily, or it was harder to get the ball because everyone was running around doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But he found league footy easier because everyone was playing their role and running the right patterns, and he could just find the ball much easier. So you're completely right, and I've had endless examples of people say the same thing too.
Yeah. Before we get into your own business, I have a couple more footy questions. Something I always wanted to know what happens on like the footy field, like when there's always you see on TV, there's like a lot of shit talking. I don't know how many games you've been involved in that it's sort of escalated like that. But what's the talk like on the field? Obviously, I know from my experiences, but at the AFL level, what actually gets said out on the field?
Well, depending what games you're playing, you almost can't even hear each other out there. I remember round one against Carlton, it was 80-odd thousand. You can't yell from 50 metres away to direct someone. You just can't hear. But there is a lot of passion, of course. It's just it's the nature of the beast. We're all competitive and trying to win. I don't think I've necessarily been around anything too drastic or too.
But there's some good insults. So some good.
Yeah, we've Loston's probably our best. He's always got something to say to somebody, especially the umpires as well. So, there's a few jabs out there, but nothing that ever really crosses a line. And of course, if you do cross the line, there's a lot of penalties now in AFL. So there's a lot of friendly fire. I will say, I reckon most opposition players are probably more friendly than others. Like I lined up on Harris Andrews. I was playing as a forward, and he was the nicest guy ever. He was chatting to me the whole day. So there is a bit of that as well, where everyone's a bit more friendly fire, and they're just normal blokes playing footy, really. So it's just at that higher level. So I've actually found that with a lot of the players from opposition teams. And if you see them in public or pre-game or whatever it is, everyone's quite friendly and will at least acknowledge or at least say hello. So it's a good little bubble to be in.
I think it's a lot of, like, it's the story. It's more for the fans that think everyone, all the players hate each other more than they do. Clearly, there's a rivalry on the field, but there's still an undertone of respect between the players. But a lot of the fans, it's the fans, they just
Absolutely.
they hate players, they love players, and it's so emotional. How have you found that? Like, because compared to like waffle, it's like important for some people, but AFL's the big thing, and people's like weeks and their livelihood is like determined by how their team goes. It's crazy how much they identify with it.
No,
But
it's a great question, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people because I still struggle to comprehend it, like how the fans are so fixated and so passionate about it. Because I love football, like I love training, I love playing, I love the whole process of it. But being so passionate about a team, win, lose, and the emotion of it, I still struggle to comprehend it a bit, or struggle to see how much it means to other people. I don't think of myself as anyone drastically bigger or better than anyone else. I just think of us as a normal person playing footy and, trying to do it well and trying to make a career out of it. But a lot of people see you as, the idols and role models and things like that. And then and you see how much it means to fans and people who tune in to watch the game. Like, I'm still slowly comprehending how much it means to people. Because when I'm away from football, I'm away from football. Like, I have other hobbies and ambitions to do, and it balances me out really well personally. But when I'm in football, I'm in the process of it. Like, I'm very driven to succeed and to play well. But yeah, it's still something I'm still coming to terms with, like how much it means to, the external public and what people, I guess, are putting money into memberships and, their passion into, wins and losses. So it has been a bit surprising. My roommate, shout out to Nathan Perry, he's a diehard Richmond supporter, and he's always got to try and remind me of how much it means to him and a lot of other people. So it's not to say that I'm not like that, but I'm still learning about it and seeing it for what it is, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think like for a lot of people, it gives them purpose, right? Like you've got such a strong purpose outside of football, whereas a lot of people I don't think really have that. So I think a football club creates that emotion and that sense of direction in their life, which is why there's so much emotion in the sport.
Well, the game wouldn't be what it is without it. So, and I love the fans. I love giving back and trying to be, a role model and a positive force for it. Like, that's why we do it. And without them, we wouldn't have the jobs we have and wouldn't get to do what we get to do. So I love the fan interactions and I guess giving back to the people who give us so much.
How have you found that, like, because you're a very humble guy, but going to the AFL, it's people are starting to, like, put you on this pedestal and you get a lot of interactions with people. People start to know who you are. How have you found that whole experience? You've been chasing to just make the AFL and now you have a name for yourself. So many people, like, I guess, know who you are. Like, how has that whole journey internally been?
Yeah, see, I actually really enjoy it because I think as a younger kid, I probably craved that for so long because I spent a lot of my career, I was told I was never going to make it, or I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't going to amount to anything special. So to have a lot of positivity and a lot of, I guess, support and reassurance, like I actually enjoy it, or I wouldn't say crave it, but I like to acknowledge it when people acknowledge me in a way. But yeah, like it is a weird one. Like I don't see myself as a celebrity or someone famous.
Oh, I do, mate. You're a celebrity, mate.
But it is a little bit freaky sometimes how many people may recognise you, because you usually can't tell as well. I found in public, some people may know who you are, but it's not like.
Do you have a lot of people come up to you though, like in Melbourne when you're out?
Yes and no, not all the time. But I'm not.
Yeah.
If you're a Dustin Martin,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You probably you can't go anywhere. I'm still a bit over a year and a half in and still very much a nobody in the system, but it is pretty not confronting, but it is surprising how many people are aware of who you are and what you're doing, and because there's so many clubs in Melbourne. That's another thing everyone forgets. Like, there is still, I guess, 10, 12 clubs in Melbourne, so I guess there is a lot more footballers walking around. But footy in Melbourne is very different as well. There's a lot more passion, and it's almost religious even, I guess you could say, over there. So there is a lot more passion, and a lot of people are very fixated on AFL. And like you said, that is their purpose, to go watch footy on the weekends and support their team. But yeah, same thing again. Like I enjoy it. Like it's part of the process and part of the job, and I still don't see myself that way. So I've still got to slightly adjust to it. But it is, like I said, I enjoy people who enjoy seeing what I do, and take inspiration or any bit of positivity out of it, at least anyway, because that is the overarching ambition of it all.
Yeah. What do you think, before we get into, I guess, the new business you started, which I'm fascinated to hear about as well, which I think is epic. What do you think, lastly, touching on like the fans and stuff, what do you think the average AFL fan doesn't understand, I guess, about what it's like to be a player?
Another good question. I say this to a lot of my friends and family when we compare the jobs and the lifestyle and stuff, because everyone seems to think it's easy and everything's great. One thing I'll say about AFL, it's probably one of the, well, professional sport at least anyway, one of the very few jobs where you're constantly ridiculed, or there's so many different opinions and assumptions on your work. And when there's social media and coaches and all that sort of stuff involved, I don't think everyone completely understands the pressure and the anxiety and to perform, to play, to get a contract, to get out in the field, whether you're playing AFL, VFL. So there's a lot of pressure and a lot of external pressure, I'd say, as well. And there's things like with the media and the comments, and some players get DM'd, really inappropriate sort of messages, and it could be about people's sports bets, or there's obviously been racial things recently as well with a few of the boys from other clubs. So I think that's probably the hardest part, and probably a part not everyone comprehends. Like, we're all still human, and we're all handle things and negativity in different ways. So I think that's probably the biggest thing with AFL, and a lot of people can understand, is just the scrutiny and the ridiculing of what you're doing. I don't think many jobs probably get that. And as I said, I've worked in other jobs before, and you don't get people messaging on social media telling you how bad you are at the job. So it's probably that. But
do you think the mental health, like, I know you can't make any comment on it, but I can. But I think like the AFL pushes such a mental health message, and from what I've heard from a lot of people is there's a lot of like, almost virtue signaling, whereas like the realities of what, I guess men are going through in Australia, but then specifically within the confines of professional sport, is not fully understood, and the pressures that young athletes face. Like, how does like a AFL internal system, like how do you give the support to these guys? And like from what you've seen from these players, like how do you find these players are actually handling the pressure? And like how much are they showing? Because a lot of it is they don't want to show because they have to put on this persona of toughness and that comes with it.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I mean, I guess you got the personnel with psychologists and people like that. I guess they're there to utilise if need be. But I still think with the PA and clubs as well, they may have the resources, but it's not necessarily enforced. And I still even think with life after footy, like a lot of people, I find with AFL, like you're either really complacent or you're really stressed out. If you're on a nice long-term deal with a lot of money, you don't really stress about a lot of things. But if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, there is a lot of that pressure and a lot of those things that come into play. And I guess there's endless examples of people who have been delisted or have gone out of the game early or have struggled within the game as well. There is a bit of a vast gap, and there is a few things. Yeah, I guess no part's perfect. I mean, I think the resources are there, but I'm not sure if they're utilised as much as they could be. And I still think, especially with men's mental health, it could be a bit more promoted within the AFL, especially recently with the tragics of the Selwood boys. I think, more importantly, more than ever, that sort of, I guess, agenda or that part of, men's mental health needs to be pushed in the right way, because we can see like there is a lot of real bad effects of it that can come from it. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and it is hard to comment on. I mean, but I can see why some people go down the path they do, and it's probably something that needs to be addressed a bit better and a bit more thoroughly. But on the other side, like, there is a lot of good in the AFL, and there's a lot of good that they do as well. There's a lot of inclusivity. There's a lot of extra support, and there's a lot of coaching and a lot of things like that as well. So it is a very good industry, and they do a lot of right. But it's like anything, there's always little nuances to improve or adjust as well. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, take me to something more exciting. Take me to the business that you've launched and give me, I guess, a bit more context to it. I'm excited to hear what you've done.
It was an exciting process. So I've called it Empowered. Might work on the name, a little of a rebrand on down the track. A little bit of a nonchalant sort of name, but I guess what it means and what it's there for is very much links into the name. So basically what I've launched is, I guess, a platform where I can deliver talks and workshops and training programs for schools and football clubs, or any sporting clubs for that matter. And I guess the overarching purpose of it is to, I guess, share a bit about my story and my background. And the reason why, and obviously we'll just share my story and my background, but also just give a few mental frameworks and some insights to what I do, but also how I went about my journey, and just giving, I guess, frameworks and ideas to handle things like resilience and hardship, and I guess developing your self-belief, your confidence, high performance habits, goal setting, personal development, a lot of that side. And I guess I want to use it as a platform to empower people and inspire people to get to where they want to go in life, but also just, like I said, be a role model and be a force for good and just uplift people. Because I do a lot of it for my younger self. I also play football for my younger self, because as a young kid I was so passionate about the game, and everything I ever wanted is what I'm doing now. I would have done anything to have someone in my position to be able to speak in front of me at a football club or a school or a venue, and I guess just take on those feedback or the insights, or I guess there's little things that can be applied to sport and just life in general. So yeah, it's not a business to promote myself it's not for personal gain necessarily. It is a business, and I want to try, and I have a lot of ambitions with it, but I guess the overarching purpose and the ambition with it is to help people, educate people, I guess inspire, and just do good, like give back in a way, and I guess help any young aspiring athletes in any sport get to where they want to go. So yeah, it was a very enjoyable process as well, because I have always been a bit business entrepreneurial minded, but I've never really had a few things that have clicked. So it was a nice little self-reflection process more than anything, because it forced me to reflect on, why I haven't quite been successful with other things, or what is it that I actually enjoy doing? What is a purpose that I want to chase post-football or during football? All about what I'm good at and what are my skill sets and what can I do? And I guess it links to younger people and younger athletes, because I have almost finished a teaching degree. And funnily enough, I actually can't finish my teaching degree playing footy, because I'm right at that last roadblock with the final prac. So I can't actually do my final 10-week prac or whatever it is.
That's stiff.
So it's actually such a pain. So yeah, instead of doing nothing between my days, I indulge into this, and I guess try and build something that's probably a lot more scalable and can help a lot more people. I have my days where I'm very productive. Other days, not so much. I'm concerned with my football and what I'm doing, but it's something that I enjoy and something I can do in my spare time for now. And yeah, I have a few ambitions for it and a few ideas, and we'll just propel it in the right direction and see how we go.
What are some of the, I guess, philosophies of the business, and what do you think, like, what are you teaching practically to, it's guys and girls, right? Like it's, so what do you think, I guess, most people are struggling with that they need the guidance with?
Yeah, so I definitely looked at this as a very practically, and even if I looked at my situation with the draft, so last year there was over 1,000 people who got drafted in the 2024 end of year draft, and there was less than 100 that got picked up. So what's that? Less than 10%, and majority of them knew they were going to get picked up or had an idea. And then they got to the rookie draft, and then all of them were basically delisted players who were redrafted, so they could hit. So lists could make enough changes to hit the quota for the year. So in terms of how many people don't make it, or I guess have their dreams crushed in front of them, there's so many of them. And I guess the philosophy of the business and what it's trying to do is, I guess, have a proven example of someone like myself who got drafted at a different age, just kind of show a bit of a different path and a bit of a different perspective as to how things can be achieved, and just different mental models as well, just how to approach different aspects along the journey, where it's been told you're not good enough, or you're struggling with the belief in yourself to actually get there, you're struggling to see the path to victory, or getting the right habits, getting the right mindset to be able to propel yourself. Because I truly believe I would never have made it if I didn't have that belief in myself or the work ethic.
How did you get the? I know we did this last pod, but I think that's the biggest thing that people struggle to do is find the belief and desire to take action when they feel the lowest about themselves, right? Like a lot of your confidence is starting to come over years with evidence, but how do you inspire or get people to be inspired to take action when there's just no evidence in front of them?
Well, this is one of the frameworks I use, and it is called Build Your Evidence. And a lot of it isn't just fixated on an outcome or achieving the ultimate dream. A lot of it is just incremental improvements over time, and just little habits that build that belief or build that trust in yourself. Like if you wake up and you say you're going to do something and you do it, you're building that trust within yourself. And when I reflect on my journey, the only time when I got my confidence or my belief in myself, it was from doing things that others weren't prepared to do. And it's identifying how far some are willing to push and some who aren't. So it's a little bit of a comparison game in a healthy way, where I look at other people and I go, well, I'm training harder, I'm choosing to work harder. Eventually this is going to pay off because of the compounding effect of it. But it's also just, I guess, internally, it's doing habits and doing different processes that are making you better, and it's enjoying the process of self-improvement as well. I think, and I've really struggled with this throughout my career, definitely younger, has always been fixated on making the team or getting drafted or playing this game, playing X amount of games. But the reality is that the improvement comes through the process and how you attack that, and making your habits and just the discipline to continue with it. So I feel like my belief has always come from my work ethic, or building my evidence that I am what I say I am, I guess, or what I believe I am necessarily. There's a good Alex Hormozy quote. I've got to try and remember it, but he said, "You don't build confidence by yelling affirmations in the mirror. You build it. You get confidence by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are what you say you are." And I think that's just such a great way to explain it. Just nail on the head of what confidence is. And I think that's all it is. It's not a lot of people say comparison's a thief of joy, and I think that is definitely correct. But I put a little bit of a spin on it, and I said it could also be the motivating factor to encourage you to make a change. as well. And what that basically means is I don't look at someone who's achieved more than me and I'm not discouraged by it. It actually motivates me. Someone who's been able to do it. And it's just having that, I guess, that comparison of where you look at someone and it makes you believe more that you can do it, as opposed to looking at someone, oh, he's done that, I'm not worthy of it. So it's having, I guess, that flip in, you know, building your own evidence and propelling yourself to go forward. Like, if someone's done it before, then why not you?
Have you found that in practice this year? Like, prime example of lots of setbacks and roller coasters. Have you found like the emotional journey of, you know, being in the team, out of the team, and like obviously including the pressures of being in AFL and there's contract stuff, and like it must be, you know, a big thing on your mind. How have you been able to use, I guess, these tools, but also like look after yourself as well?
Yeah, a roller coaster is the best way to describe it. And there is no secret. Like, I came in with high expectations and ambitions because of the work I put in and what I do put in. Like, I truly believe the way I go about it and just the amount of actual work I put in the off season and from day to day. Like, I feel like I deserve it in a lot of ways, and I tell myself I am worthy of it, and I do deserve to be successful. But one of the things I don't like about football, the only thing I don't like about football, is so much of it is you can't control. Like, you can't control the scoreboard. You can't control wins and losses necessarily. You can't control if you get selected.
The opposition.
The opposition. So there has been a roller coaster of emotions, but I've never allowed myself to think I've been hard done by, because it gives me a luxury to blame somebody else when the most productive way to get better or to persevere is to take the accountability on yourself and improve. And like I said before, indulging in the process of self-improvement, and it's just really just controlling what you can do and, yeah, just keeping your head up and staying positive. And it is hard. Like, I'm definitely not perfect. Like, my moods crash, or I get a bit defeated at times and, you know, overthink or question a little bit what's going on and what others perceive me to be. But it's kind of the story of my journey, and it's nothing that I haven't been through before. But I think we said this earlier, the one thing I'm most proud of is everything that I could have controlled, I've done very well. And I have performed what I needed to, and yeah, I don't have a question on my ability or what I'm capable of, but opportunity and I guess having a clear run at it definitely helps any player in any realm. So, but we'll see. Like, I enjoy what I'm doing. It's a good place to be, and continuing to attack things the right way and going about it, the tide will turn, and I'm a true believer of that. So
yeah. Because I found when I was, you know, playing Waffle Reserves last year, and like the biggest thing I struggled with was just feeling valued. And I know a lot of that's internal, and you know, but like coming from the highest up is like the best place, because you know they pick the side, they're the ones coaching and leading, and I always felt like that was like. And then, you know, there's always things like, oh, go seek out, you know, stuff. Even when you seek out feedback, it's, I don't know, it's a bit blurry. But like sometimes, like as human beings, we just want to be hugged and like, and I don't get too emotional, but like get hugged and be like, no, we fucking value you. Like, Blighty, we fucking value. You're an important part of our future. We love you. Keep working hard. We're in it together. But like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like that doesn't happen.
Well, it is a business, right? And I'm completely with you. And that's something I've struggled to feel at a few places. But I know that when I have felt that, and I have felt that love and that support, I've only thrived and reached heights that I didn't think were necessarily possible. So the fact that you've been through it, am going through it, have been through it, the evidence is there. Like, the more you are validated and, I guess, supported and you feel valued where you are, it only just propels you in more ways than you could believe. And It's not a nice feeling at all when you don't feel like that, and you're trying so hard to get the validation from other people to prove your own worth, especially your self-worth. But when you don't get it, I think more than ever, that's where your own self-esteem and your own internal belief is more important, because sometimes in life you get backed in a corner and it feels like the only person that really believes in you is you, really. And I've had that a lot of times in my journey, especially through my younger years, going through high school and just trying to make a career out of football in general. So, and I guess that's just where it's that aspect of overcoming is becoming. And
I like that.
And you just overcoming these sort of little bumps in the road is what makes the story that much sweeter. It's a story that you get to tell later on, and if I never persevered or never progressed in the positive direction from it, I wouldn't be doing this podcast, or I sure as hell wouldn't be playing AFL. So it's what makes my story, I guess, a bit more interesting, or inspiring maybe, or motivating for some people who maybe feeling the same or going through a similar situation. But you don't get to see the view at the top if you don't take the climb up there. So it's a good place to be. But that's how you got to go about it.
How do you know one specific journey is worth taking? So like when, let's say with your business and you're working with these people, or just say you're talking to anyone in general, like what makes a journey worth going on for someone? Like, you know, sometimes a lot of people live their lives for the expectations of others, and we don't know if something's meaningful to us. I know we spoke last time about the importance of values and how important that is to you. What would the average person, like, who's, you know, motivated, ambitious, and, you know, wants more out of life, how do they know that the path they're going towards, the success they're after, is going to be fulfilling and meaningful to them? What advice would you have?
Without a cliche comment, like, you only really get one go at life, right? And when I grew up, especially with football, I was so intent on it. I'd have statements like, I won't be able to grow old content or happy if I don't achieve it. And it sounds very intense, but that intensity, or that, I guess, having a dream that high, like, you need a bit of that. You need some urgency, and you need to get out and attack life a bit, and I guess find your why and find what it is you're doing. Because in life, I think most people, a lot of people, are just content just going in their bubble, going in their cycle, and just living. And I like to say it's like a feather in the wind. You just get taken wherever the wind goes, and that's fine. And I don't criticize or ridicule anyone. I think if someone's happy in their own life, you know, awesome, that's great. But in terms of like chasing a dream or heading towards something, it's kind of an analogy. You're either running away from a nightmare or towards a dream. And sometimes getting out of a bad situation is more motivating than running towards a good situation. But I guess on the flip side, I know personally that now that I am where I am, it was so worth it, so worth all the trials and tribulations and the setbacks. And it's just, I guess, having the belief that it is all going to be worth it at the end. Not necessarily because you've achieved the outcome, but you've overcome the rocky process. And I guess, like I said before, overcoming is becoming, and it's just enjoying incremental wins along the way. Overcoming little different things, achieving small little things along the way. It could be as simple as getting a gym PB, or passing that exam that was so difficult, or graduating uni and getting a good job. Like, these little things in life are worth celebrating. And as I said, not being fixated on an outcome that is distant, that is further away, but enjoying a process, enjoying a life that you want to wake up to and get after it as well. So I guess the advice I would say is, you got to have your why. You have to have your purpose and what it is you want to do out of life. But at the same time, it's find the process and find the habits that you are passionate about, but also challenge you in a way to grow and develop as a person. Because if we're always happy and we're always comfortable, you're not going to get anywhere, right? It's that, what's the word, like being too comfortable, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, you know? And setbacks and bad things and things that don't go your way are good things. There's another little saying that is, sometimes in life when you think you've been buried, you've actually been planted. And that's one thing I very much have taken in my course. Even the end of last year, like I got drafted. I hit, I guess, my pinnacle, everything I've ever chased and ever dreamt of before. But I had times back home where I was like, okay, I was away from my friends, my family. I had to start again. I went through a bit of a breakup. That wasn't very pretty, and that was a tough time. And then I had a few other things, falling out with friends or family falling outs. And all these things were so emotionally draining. There was a few deaths that hit close to home as well, for our family as well, so back home. So there's a lot of things that happened there, and it made me really reflect where it's knowing what's important in life and what you actually value and what you enjoy. And in a lot of ways, on one side I had everything that I've ever wanted, and on the other side there was a lot where it's like, oh, maybe it's not quite as good, or life isn't quite where it needs to be or what I'd like it to be in another aspect. And the reason why I talk about the process and enjoying what you do is because I think ambition is so important for everybody. And if you don't have an ambition, you get real stuck in your emotions and so stuck in yourself and what you're thinking and what you're doing. And all these little traumas, or I guess setbacks, all these bad things that happened to me at the end of last year can crumble a lot of people. But my ambition to succeed at AFL or in my career and going about it each and every day to get better person, better athlete, stronger, fitter, make more friends. It's the ambition and the process that strings you along and gets you to where you want to go. So, and that's how I see it. Like, a lot of things can happen in life that are bad and you're not getting to where you want to go. But it's making the main thing and just enjoying the pursuit of it. What is it? It's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of the pursuit.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to go about it.
I saw a quote in a movie I was watching the other day. It was a Mark Twain quote, which was like, the two most important days are the first being the day you're born, and the second is when you discover why. And I think a lot of people just lack that deep connection within themselves. Like, that's why the trials and tribulations help you figure out who you are, what your values are, what's important. When you're really close to your limits, or that's why death often brings about like these realizations, you're forced to realize what you care about. And I think a lot of people chase things that don't matter to them. But when you're truly inspired internally from something that matters to you, like, fuck, it makes everything feel purposeful and meaningful. And I think there's so much suffering and pain and just boringness and just this that goes on in the world. And unless there's a underscore of like, this fucking matters, this has some purpose, reason, like, it's so understandable why people feel like the world's against them, and, you know, they have this sense of apathy, and that's why I think people do get very spiritual, because having purpose and meaning matters.
You're so spot on. And it's just that aspect. It's like, are you living for fun and leisure, or are you living for purpose and achievement? And I guess it's that hedonistic lifestyle. It's looking for fun and pleasure all the time. And there's definitely a part of me that still enjoys it. I still love going out and socialising or going to different parties or things like that. I don't make it a habit. I don't make it my lifestyle and everything I want to do. But I enjoy it enough. But same thing as I said before, it's keeping the main thing. because I know real happiness, what I've felt the happiest I've ever been, is through achievement or overcoming something to become something better. And it's that saying, what is it? Achieving your goals is more fun than fun is fun, sort of thing. So basically it means if you're chasing the parties, the fun, the this, the that, it's not actually as fun as achieving what you actually want to achieve, your goals. And my own reflections, it just hits on the head, really. It's the day you get drafted, the day you, I guess, defy the odds and you've, I guess, achieved something that others didn't think you would achieve. You overcome your own doubts. I think that's where the most enjoyment in life comes from. Obviously the people you're with and I guess your network as well, but it's keeping the main thing, and purpose and fulfillment over fun and leisure, I think, is the best way to live.
Yeah.
Because I guess when we're in our 20s, in our early stage of life, that's all you want to do. You want to just go have fun and I guess find yourself and do what it is you want to do. But reality is, majority of your life, you've got bigger purposes outside of that. And it's, I guess, like I said, keeping the main thing, but don't forget to see where you're at along the journey, enjoy it while it's here as well. So a bit of a combination of both.
Yeah. I think with footy, I find it hard. I don't really fit in with the archetype of like the average footballer. Like I've always struggled to fit in, and not because these guys that I've played with and been with are not good people. It's just a lifestyle and mindset of these guys, and when they're not at an elite enough level and they're like a bit lower level, they get so heavy into the alcohol and I don't know. It's just, I find that was the biggest thing when I look back at like my footy journey and just football in general. Is just I just don't get why, especially things like alcohol. I just don't get how alcohol, and Prime Train did a sick post on it about like,
I think I saw that,
about like the gambling and the normalization of like gambling, drinking, shit talking, drugs. And it's like, I think as much as footies have this incredible positive thing, it's like there's also this culture in amateur football that's pretty fucking shit and toxic. And I think there's so much opportunity in that space to really change like what happens. And I know like there's that like tough bravado, masculine, footy sort of energy, but like I think a lot of guys are struggling and don't actually want to be a part of it. I know for me, like, like having one or two drinks is different, but like some people, it just becomes their escape, and it's the only way they can run away from their feelings. And a lot of it is connection. They're connecting with people, but they think they have to do drugs and alcohol to fit in.
Yeah, that's the issue right there. And it's using an external source or substance in this case to find happiness or to fit in. And as I said before, I still enjoy it a bit enough. Like I don't want to make it I don't make it a habit or a weekly occurrence. And of course, in my position, you just can't do that, and it's just not ideal to do that. I get both sides, but I also completely agree in the sense that the culture to indulge in that sort of substances and doing that sort of stuff doesn't benefit or put you in a positive direction, because more often than not it's just a cleanse, or it's avoiding a more internal struggle more than anything. It's delegating how you're actually feeling by masking it, by using something that isn't beneficial for you. And the way I've grown up, I've seen endless examples of it. And I guess the only way to put the nail on the head is the lack of purpose, the lack of drive, or I guess perspective as to what life is and what you can get out of it. And it is a unique way of thinking. I guess, especially the way you think, you're very smart and intellectual yourself and you understand this. But a lot of people are so fixated on, I guess, the ebbs and flows of life and this event, this party, this thing, that, what this person's doing. No one takes the time to figure out who they are and what they're about, and I guess take the time to love themselves or be proud of what they are and what they've achieved. Because more often than not, a lot of people haven't done anything that they're proud of or are striving. They're not striving hard enough to achieve anything anyway. So I guess when you don't have an underlying purpose or a strong, I guess, ambition, what else is there to do? And it's that sort of culture, isn't it?
And even with someone like myself, I've even struggled with it this year. Like the whole drinking thing. I think like there's an underlying like we want to fit in, right? And definitely within myself, I've found, you know, I was good for a long time. I was able to say no, but like there's trade-offs, right? Like it does like make you more sociable, and you know, times I've drunk way more. Like
there's always an equal and opposite force, right? And yeah, like I said, I still enjoy it, and I still don't mind going out and having the longer nights and the parties and meet new people. And because at the end of the day, like it's so good to have your goal and your ambition, but and I don't want to contradict myself, but like I said, it's keeping the main thing, but also taking a step back and enjoying the process a bit. And that's one thing, especially with me, because I'm so driven and fixated on achievement and getting to where I want to go. Sometimes you forget just to enjoy the little things.
But usually that's why like people fucking binge on drinking, because it's that pressure relief.
Yeah, and that's where it's the problem, right? It's using a substance to numb a feeling or to take away a negative feeling. And yeah, I feel like more often than not, you just feel the full emotions of life, feel it for what it is. And yeah, as I said, I it's a habit that I don't want to build on, but it's an aspect that taking little bits at a time. But I completely agree with your perspective, and there is a lot more to life and what there is to do than just that sort of culture.
Yeah. Anyways, looking forward, what are you thinking about future wise? We won't talk contract stuff, or we won't talk AFL anything footy wise, but just generally, obviously playing AFL. But like, what are you thinking about future and stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, like I'm a person who I guess has a lot of plans and a lot of things that I'm aiming to get towards. Obviously, football is the main thing, and it has been for quite a while. So, and as I said before, the worst thing about football is how much you actually can't control. So, I just fixate on becoming a better player, better version of me each day. I truly believe the rest will take care of itself in that space. Yeah, we'll see what happens with football. But in terms of that, I look forward to getting back to Perth in the off-season and for a bit more of a longer stint than now, and just getting to see everybody, friends, family, I guess enjoy summer, but also just get back to work, keep training, keep progressing, and yeah, get the business going in a lot more ways, try and get a few more clients and get it off the ground and get it up and running more than anything. So it's been a little bit harder than I thought. I thought it'd be a little bit easier than what it is, but
what are the offerings? How do you implement what you're doing?
Like, say that again, sorry.
Like, what are the offerings? Like, what's the deliverable?
Oh, like as in yeah. So at the moment, I am wanting to go into schools and sporting clubs, education, I guess, environments, and I guess deliver my presentations and I guess a bit about what I do, my story, I guess educate and inspire. Down the track, I do want to go into, I guess, a bit more the physical aspect, whether it's training programs and running skill workshops and all that kind of thing. That is a bit more down the track, but the hardest part of any business is to start. So I do want to focus on the main part for now and get the message across and build the platform. And I guess from there, I presume it gets a little bit easier with different people, have different opportunities that arise from it. But that's the plan for the meantime. Like I want to potentially visit schools that I attended when I was younger, back in Albany, back in Pinjarra, back in Perth. And I guess, show a proven product of what's possible. But also want to build a clientele in Melbourne and keep busy over there as well. So, if anyone wants to hear from me or to, see what it is I do, then, put something in the comments or message the platform and we'll get something organised.
Yeah, I'll put your link in the show notes below. But anyways, hopefully we see you back in the big leagues soon. From just my perspective, I obviously very optimistic with when I see you, but I feel like we're similar to when we when we last had our conversation. I remember like thinking at the time, I was like, I don't know how this bloke's not playing AFL. Like, he should be on a list. And then he got drafted, and then my mind's still thinking should be playing, but
yeah, and that has been the struggle. There is a lot of external support and a lot of people who do believe I should be doing more, and I feel like I'm definitely more capable and should be doing more, but it's just a roadblock that we have to overcome. But ultimately, like I appreciate all the support, not only from yourself, but my friends, family, I guess other fans or supporters who watch me or watch our team, watch Richmond. So, I probably see more than what I should. I probably see too many posts and too many comments, and but the people close to me can't help it. They can't help but sending me the messages and screenshots and all the rest of it. But I'm there's not a lot that will deter me from what I'm trying to achieve. Negative comments or negative people, I've been through enough in my life. I don't think a negative comment on social media is going to put me in a bad mood. So I'm pretty fixated on what I got to do. But I do appreciate the love and support. It definitely propels me in the right way.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to see how your career keeps playing out. Anyways, thanks for coming on for this sort of spontaneous podcast out of nowhere, but it's been good to catch up and see you again. It's been a while, and hopefully the best for the rest of the year, but continue doing you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.